Story 1. The mysterious phone call last night. A friend rushed me out of the house to catch the opening act at a local bar's music night. After a few drinks, I realized my phone wasn't in my pocket. I checked the table, bathrooms, and everywhere else, but it was nowhere to be found. I used my friend's phone to call mine, and after 2 rings, someone answered, gave out a low, raspy giggle, and hung up. They didn't answer again, and I eventually gave up hope. The next morning, I found my phone lying on my nightstand, exactly where I left it. Story 2. The creepy bus driver. When I was a kid, I was always the last one to get picked up by the bus driver. One day, a bus with no kids pulled up, and the driver smiled, telling me to hop in. I had a bad feeling and asked where the other kids were. He said they'd get them now, and I should just get on. He got more and more pushy, but I kept saying no. Eventually, he shrugged and left. The real bus pulled up a few minutes later, and I went to school. My parents didn't know about the incident until I mentioned it that night. Story 3. The disturbing neighbor. A few years back, I rented an apartment from a friend who had recently renovated it. However, I soon realized something was off about the lady next door. She'd sit up all night, listening to Christian radio shows and talking loudly to someone. The noise kept me awake, so I went over to her place and asked her to keep it down. When she opened the door, I was taken aback by the state of her apartment: crosses painted on walls, scribbled words, and stained carpets. She shut the door without a word and turned up the radio even louder. The next night, I woke up to find her standing beside my bed, holding something in her hand. I was terrified. The police later told me she was a violent schizophrenic who hadn't taken her meds. They couldn't intervene until she left her apartment, so I waited for her to go out and called the cops. They arrived quickly, restrained her, and took her away. I never saw her again, but the memory of that encounter still haunts me.
Story 4. The rock and the car. One night, while working the late shift, a massive rock crashed through our office window. I reported it to security and decided to head home. As I left the building, I became increasingly paranoid. I ran to my car and got in, locking the doors behind me. Only when I was almost home did I realize I hadn't locked my car door when I got in. Later, I rode my bike to a friend's place, and someone rode past me on my mom's bike, which was missing from my house. The rider gave me a creepy smile, and I sprinted home, realizing one of my car doors was open, the one I hadn't opened. Story 5. The payphone. I worked at a campground on night shift, and the previous employee warned me about a payphone that rang every night at 4:17 a.m. I initially dismissed it as an automated test call. However, when I started leaving the windows open, I heard the phone ring at the exact time every morning. Curious, I decided to answer it. There was dead air, and when I said hello, there was no response. One night, I answered again, and a rough voice said my complete name, first, middle, and last. My voice caught in my throat, and I hung up. I traced the number to California while I lived in Indiana. The experience left me shaken.